Hello and welcome to this weekly psychic forecast for week commencing 2nd of May 2022. We are charging ahead into May. We're going to begin with an overview of the week as always, and then we will go day by day and finishing up with a motivational message from the Fairy Oracle. So do stay tuned for that. There will of course be timestamps in the description below so that you can jump back in throughout the week and check on any particular day that you need to. So let's dive on in with the overview for the week. Here are the cards. We have number 16, Disruption. Not a great card to see. The Six of Summer. Equally a challenging energy. And 41, Soul Song. Okay. So right off the bat, this is quite a challenging week for a lot of people. And I said previously that with Pluto going retrograde on the 29th of April, that was going to bring some things to a standstill, some things to a halt. It's going to feel like if you didn't get going already, you may not have the opportunity to. And this was a really, really important message that I received in April, which was get everything done before the 29th of April, before Pluto goes retrograde. Start your business, get the ball rolling, get things moving before this happens, before this big astrological event. Otherwise, it would be very difficult to do it afterwards until some other shifts has happened. So it's a challenging week for sure if you're trying to do something. There's a real energy of feeling stuck, of not feeling in control completely of everything that's happening to you. And in many ways, this will be a good thing. I think if you've put something off to this time and you're trying to do it now, it was probably too late anyway. You were probably procrastinating because you didn't really want to do it on some level, or because it wasn't really right for you. So there is that as well. If you're finding yourself thinking, oh, but no, I really, really did want to do that horrible job I was offered. Maybe you didn't. Maybe you've just had a reality check, because we do tend to look at things through rose-tinted glasses when we don't get them. And it's perfectly natural, I think, for human beings to really want something the minute they can't have it, even if they didn't actually really want it in the first place. So bear that in mind. It's going to be one of those strange, contrary weeks, I think, in that respect. But looking at the third card there, 41-5, Soul Song, very, very interesting numerology there. This is very much about us creating our reality now. And there's a real need, a real feeling of knowing that we know how to do this, but we can't quite remember how. We can't quite remember how to make all the pieces fit together. Like trying to remember how to do a jigsaw when you haven't done one for 1,000 years. But there's a real wisdom coming through from Soul right now. And this is very much a learning period, I think, which is why things won't be moving so quickly in your everyday life, your day-to-day life. Work, career, business may feel a little bit slow, sluggish, difficult to get things off the ground. Relationships also maybe taking something of a back foot at the moment this week. Definitely a difficult energy to be working with, but it is an interesting one because it brings in the energy of the higher mind. And this is what I was talking about in the Pluto retrograde reading. And if you haven't watched that yet, do check it out. I will link above. Very, very important spiritual update. So I do recommend that you watch that one. We are learning to create from the higher mind now. So to come from that higher aspect of self and remember that we can create and manifest, but learning how to do it in the right way, how to be sovereign beings, how to do this, how to grow up on a spiritual level, if you like, and to create our reality. It's going to be an interesting week, I think, a bit frustrating for some, but there will be some very interesting inspiration for others, very interesting spiritual messages coming through. So do pay attention when you get the nudge or you feel there's some communication coming through for you, because I feel there will be. There's also a lot of downloads going to be coming through this week as well. So another good reason for it not to be a busy week, when it comes to work or trying to start something new, because downloads are exhausting, take their toll on the body. So I think it's probably a good thing that we're not going to have too much on our plate. So now let's move on to the days of the week. We will start with Monday, the 2nd of May. The cards we have: 0, New Beginnings. The Princess of Autumn. Oh, there we go. And 32, the Divine Masculine. Wow. Now, if there was ever a day to really rethink your career and the direction you're going in, This would be it. You may not be able to start anything new this week, but boy, if there's a change that needs to be made that you haven't made yet, it's really going to show itself on Monday. I think that it's really going to energetically show itself to be looked at. It's a very, very interesting day, I think, for people who did already get things moving in April, who heeded the call, who were already ready to do that, because not everyone was ready. This isn't a case about some people being on the ball and others falling behind. No, we all move at different paces, we all grow at different speeds and do things at different times because of divine timing, and that's completely normal. Everyone's soul journey is unique. Monday, I think, is going to show us opportunities and show us possibilities. It'll be a case of this is what you could have. Let's think about this. And again, it's going to the higher mind. So it may be thinking about, is my career right for me? Is my lifestyle right for me? Do I really want to do something completely different? But really thinking about it in logical, practical ways, but also in a very inspired way, because there's this wonderful energy coming through from the higher mind, from spirit, from your soul, that will be guiding you on Monday. It's a very interesting energy to be involved in, for sure. There may be a few people decide to quit their jobs, I think, on Monday. So if that's you, well, okay, but think carefully about it if you're going to do that, please. I'm not advocating that anyone make rash decisions. That's not helpful. We have bills to pay, remember. Okay, and the energy of the divine masculine coming in here, which is absolutely beautiful, with the 32-5 there. And that's wonderful because the 32 itself, the number, the numerology there, 32-5, this is actually the divine feminine guiding the blueprint, but it's the card of the divine masculine. So this is showing a much more balanced worldview. This is about the divine masculine coming into balance with himself, no longer needing to dominate, no longer needing to get one up on the next person, to keep up with the Joneses, to have all of the material things. Again, it's a representation of moving out of that old energy of the age of Pisces, where might is right and you have to work really hard and the strongest person is the best person, you know, where physical attributes and masculine, traditionally masculine traits are held in high regard, well above feminine ones, which is ridiculous. Of course, that's completely out of balance. But this is bringing that balance back in here. I'll just show you the card again because this is so wonderful. This is so powerful. What we're seeing here, it's coming full circle now. This is the divine feminine coming back into balance, leading the divine masculine back to himself. And I think for many men, this is going to be a very powerful day. This is a day for men in particular, or people who identify as male, to really be thinking about the future and really considering where you go moving forward, stepping back from old archetypal roles from the age of Pisces and looking at where we go next. So now we will look at Tuesday's energy. Here come the cards. We have number 8, trapped in fear. We have the Ace of Summer. Lovely card. Strange to have it next to that one. That's a... we'll have a look at that. And 37, focus. Focus, focus, focus. Okay. Ooh, Tuesday is a mixed bag. Tuesday is a very mixed bag of energy. Okay, what I'm seeing is very much the fear of moving on, and the fear of moving on in work, but also in relationships as well. The fear of putting your heart out there in whatever capacity it is, whether it's to do with another person or something you're passionate about. There's a real fear of putting the heart out there, and this comes off the back of Monday's energy, I think, which is really making us reconsider a lot of our options here. For some people, it is literally going to be, I would like to do this thing, but I really don't think I can, so I'm going to hide and not think about it. I'm just going to carry on doing the same thing that I've always done, although I hate it. But it comes in with quite a gentle energy as well. There's kind of a gentle nudge from the universe on Tuesday to do things a little bit differently, to open your heart to love, to be receptive to intuition, to be receptive to other people coming into your life as earth angels, to bring you messages, to bring you help. But also there is a real need to get very clear about what it is that you want in life on Tuesday, I think, and that's going to come through in a number of different ways for different people, but it is very important because we've got that powerful energy of 37-10-1 here, which is very transformative. So there's an opportunity for transformation and change on Tuesday if you want it. Now, as I said, if you missed out on the April energy before Pluto went retrograde, things that we start will go a lot more slowly, will be a lot more challenging to start, but there's a reason for that. It may be that you can't start it yet. You may have to wait until perhaps August, when the energy will be a little bit freer into August, September, as I'm being told by my guides. But Tuesday, yeah, it's not a negative day. But it might feel difficult for some people. I think there's a real reticence to move forwards. There's the ego mind jumping in to say it's easier to carry on doing what we've always done, even though it's not very pleasant. So there is that to consider. Okay, so let's move on to Wednesday now. Wednesday's cards, we have number 10, Destiny. Ooh, more transformational energy. Now that is exciting. We have number 3, the Empress. And number 29, You Are the Universe. Wow. Love it. Okay. Yeah. This is a very transformative day again, but it's coming through with a lot of wisdom. So I think again, there's an impulse to make changes on Wednesday, but it comes through with real divine wisdom and again, a remembrance of who we truly are. So there could be some Kundalini rising, sort of like enlightenment type experiences, people having really interesting, powerful spiritual experiences on Wednesday, which is absolutely fascinating, but really remembering who we are. Remembering that life isn't supposed to be a struggle, and that's the reminder on Wednesday. Wednesday comes in to say, you know what, I know it's hump day, I know it's the middle of the week, won't be too bad here in England because Monday is a bank holiday, so people won't be at work, but for those of you who don't have that day off, Wednesday could feel like a drag. But it's actually quite a hopeful day. It's a good Wednesday, which is really nice to see. It won't be as melancholy as Wednesday can be sometimes, which is lovely. There is a real energy of transformation that comes in on Wednesday. And again, it's coming off the back of Tuesday's energy. It's a very fluid week this week. The energy seems to be moving in a very fluid way. So it's like very coherent one day following the next rather than jumping around and completely different things happening on different days. So it may feel kind of like a cool glass of water this week. It's kind of slow going, but it gets there and it's not too jarring. There's lots of things for us to think about at the moment, particularly with Pluto going retrograde. There's a lot for us to consider. There's a lot coming up which is going to be very challenging. A lot of old beliefs which are going to challenge us. And I think we need it to not be too busy at the moment. We need it to be a little bit more sedate, sedentary. So that is a positive coming through here. Again, very powerful angelic messages coming through on Wednesday as well, which is going to be absolutely lovely. So do pay attention to those. There is a reminder on Wednesday to carry on with your spiritual practice, even if it's something that you've stopped for a while. Make sure you are continuing with your spiritual practice. It's a very positive day for meditation, for prayer, for yoga, for whatever it is that you like to do, perhaps visiting a nice little church or something in your area. And it really doesn't matter what your spiritual practice is. It really doesn't. It's whatever resonates truly with you. That's what matters. That's what's really key here. But our spiritual self is going to be taking a much bigger part in our lives moving forward. So there is that reminder there that we are changing on a very fundamental level. So it's very important that we stay in touch with that spiritual aspect, that spiritual part of us, which is actually the very biggest part, because we are a teeny tiny aspect of it, because that is what will guide us. And when we try to not listen, or we think we're too clever to listen, that's when we struggle. That's when we get into trouble. So moving on to Thursday, let's take a look at the cards. We have number 9, spiritual strength. Number 11, strength. I'm seeing a theme here. And 27, joy. Wow, look at that gorgeous card. Beautiful. Beautiful Merkaba there on the joy card. Absolutely gorgeous. And you know what I want to say here is, yeah, we have to work very hard. And you know what? It's really difficult being incarnated in this lifetime. This is a really difficult lifetime that we're experiencing right now. This isn't one of the easy ones. This isn't one of the ones where we can just coast by, or we know exactly what's expected of us, or it might be hard, but at least we don't have to aim too high. This is actually a really, really difficult lifetime on a spiritual level. It might not seem like it on a physical level, because those of us in the Western world appear to have all these mod cons. We appear to have lots of nice things, don't we? We appear to live essentially in luxury compared to a lot of people and a lot of people in the ages that came before us, but do we really? Because on a spiritual level, this is an extremely difficult time to be living in. This is a very challenging time of great wisdom, and there are some very old, very wise souls on earth at the moment as well. As a result, we're here to help bring in the age of Aquarius to help facilitate the Great Awakening. This is a very, very big job, and that can't be overstated. It really can't. It takes huge strength, inner strength, to actually get through this and to go through these turbulent times where we are pushed from one direction to another, backwards and forwards. It's very, very challenging, very, very difficult. And I think on Thursday, there's a reminder coming through, and it's almost like a little thank you, a little pat on the back from the universe in some way, shape, or form, just to remind you, you know what, you're doing a great job. You're actually doing an excellent job, and the universe is going to show its thanks to you, to really honor you, because we honor God, we honor the divine, but the divine also honors us, and I think that's the bit that we forget. That's the bit that mainstream religion perhaps doesn't want us to remember, that we are divine beings as well, and that the divine honors us and loves us in many ways. There's a very joyful energy on Thursday. Now, it may not be the easiest day, but there is a reminder that joy is at the very core of our being. Joy is who we truly are, and that's the wisdom. That's the thing that we need to remember in this very, very difficult time, in this very difficult decade. It's such a difficult decade, being smack bang in two energy. The only decade that I think would be more difficult would be 2220. The 2220s in 200 years' time. They're going to be awful. I'm not planning to be around for those, by the way. You might be. Send me a postcard. But yeah, it's such a difficult time. And I think Spirit will be trying to give us reminders on Thursday as to who we really are, who we truly are. And I think it's going to help us to really get some things in perspective. If you've been struggling at work or in relationships, there'll just be that little reminder of, you know what? It's okay. This is a rough lifetime, and ultimately all of these material things, none of those really matter. Okay, you're here to do a very important job on a spiritual level, and you're doing a really good job of it. So carry on. You're doing great. It's almost like we get our report card on Thursday, which is really nice. So there might actually be some form of celebration on Thursday, which is really, really nice. I want to say an astrological event on Thursday, but I don't know what that would be. Might just be some shooting stars or something. There'll be something really nice on Thursday where the universe will be trying to physically show us, you know what, we are these beautiful divine beings of light, and we're supposed to live in joy. And it is really, really wonderful. But it's a tough lifetime. So you may be feeling very tired on a very practical level. You may be tired on a Thursday. So give yourself a break, take a rest, book a holiday, learn to rest, not to quit. So moving on to Friday now. Okay, here are the cards. We have number 9, fulfillment of wishes, the 3 of winter, and 15, sensitivity. Oh, this is going to be a difficult day. I'm sorry. This is a very, very tricky one. There's a real feeling of disappointment coming through immediately for Friday here. I'm so sorry. There's going to be some very upset people on Twitter, I think, on Friday. When are they not upset? I know. But there's a real sense of disappointment that comes through on Friday of, oh, I'm never going to get that thing I wanted. Oh, this isn't fair. There's a real feeling of this isn't fair. I'm not happy. I don't want this. I want things to be different to how they are. It's very, very challenging and very difficult. And I think there will be some dreams which are literally broken on Friday, and that could be the ending of relationships, it could be the ending of jobs, it could be the ending of situations or opportunities that just disappear, vanish into thin air, never to reappear again. Which could be very, very sad, very difficult. And of course, the temptation will be to go into ego, to go into anger, to really lean into being a child, being selfish, having a tantrum. And there's a place for anger, but try not to go into the darker aspects of yourself and stay there. Okay. No toddler tantrums, please. We're grown-ups. That isn't appropriate. It's needed. It's necessary to really be a little bit philosophical on Friday because it is such a challenging day. It's got such a difficult energy to it. There will be very few people who will actually benefit on Friday. I feel like for the most people it's going to be a bit of a disappointing day, but there will be like these lucky few who will actually have a really, really good day on Friday, but that's because they're in a different place on their spiritual path, but they will very, very much be in the minority, but they will be there. So rather than feeling bad when you see that, try to be happy for other people's success, perhaps be inspired by their example and know that energetically your time will come too, even if it isn't here right now. Could be very painful though, because I really see some romantic relationships really going down the Swanee on Friday. Could be very difficult, breakups, divorces, starting to live apart, sort of, what is it called? Trial separation is kind of the words I get, like trial separation. So could be a very, very tricky time. But it is all part of ushering in this new energy. So it may be time to actually get rid of old things, old situations that just aren't working anymore. And unfortunately, we will just have to learn to live with it. But remember, there will be better times around the corner. So if you're affected by that, chin up, you'll get through this. Okay, let's take a look at Saturday now. Here are the cards. We have number 3, recognition and reward, the 7 of winter, and number 2, awakening. Really like this card. I have this one on my vision board. Great awakening. Yay, number 2 energy. That's what we're doing right now. This is this decade in a card. Okay. Yeah, okay. Saturday, you may really feel like you want a duvet day, which is okay because it's a Saturday and lots of people can actually do that on a Saturday. We can rest, we can sort of hide from the world, stay away from it all, because there may be a feeling of overwhelm for some people. It feels like almost coming to the end of a project, coming to the end of a race or something, some achievement that we may be celebrating on Saturday, but really needing to just kind of step away from it and go, you know what, I'm really glad that's over. So it's not celebrating as in, yay, I achieved this wonderful thing. It's more, thank God I got through that. Wow, that's over now. I can stop doing it. It's that kind of energy. So it's not very celebratory, although we may actually be financially rewarded for our achievement, or there may be an actual reward for what we've achieved. Unfortunately, it comes in with a huge amount of exhaustion as well. Again, on Saturday, lots of spiritual messages coming through again. I think this is really going to be a big theme while Pluto is retrograde. I have no idea how long that lasts. Maybe someone can tell me in the comments. I'm not an astrologer, as I keep saying. Maybe I should learn. I've got enough going on. But yeah, it's a difficult day. I think the truth will be hard to find, is the words I'm getting. On Saturday, the truth will be hard to find. If you're trying to pin somebody down and get some truth out of them, I think that will be very difficult. So there will be a lot of lies in the media, maybe from politicians. There's a lot of dishonesty going on Saturday, and it's because people don't want to face the truth. They don't want to have to deal with it. They don't want to have to tell the truth because they know that won't go well for them. But humanity is undergoing the Great Awakening at the moment, so they won't be able to get away with it. We will know. We will be onto them already. So again, that's going to be an interesting day on Twitter, I think. So check that one out. Challenging energy. Get rest if you can. Again, there's a lot of tiredness. Have a good meal. Remember to eat properly. I sound like your mother now, but remember to eat properly. Eat your vegetables because you're going to need the energy moving forwards because we're going through quite a challenging time at the moment. So let's move on to Sunday now. Just to note, this Saturday is not a good day to go on a first date either. I'm getting that energy would not be very good. I feel if you do, they might actually ghost you. So there's that. Okay, on to Sunday. Our cards are number 11, Balance, the Princess of Winter, and again, number 11, Remembrance. Now look at that balanced 11 on either side. I love that. This is very, very sacred numerology here. Look at that. Wow. It's time to remember who you truly are now. it's time to remember what we're here to do. It's time to remember the truth about our history as well, because so much has been left out, so much has been distorted is the word I get from my guide. So much has been hidden and twisted as well. There's so much that we don't know that is actually recorded. It's still recorded somewhere on Earth. I don't know exactly where. I feel very much it's recorded in crystal form. So I know there are certain crystals that are called record keepers. And memory is held by stones and bones. So there's a real sort of shamanic feel there as well. There's the feeling of the ancient shamans who knew how to read the land, who knew how to sense the energies and work with it properly, which is something we're only just sort of rediscovering at the moment. So it's a very sacred day. It's a wonderful day for spiritual practice, a wonderful day for ritual. Really getting back into contact with your spiritual self, getting back into touch with the higher aspects of self. Please do that on Sunday. It's a beautiful energy. Would be a real shame to miss it, to miss out on that. Really capitalize on that energy. There's a real curiosity, I think, on Sunday, which may be coming through for some people. There are a lot of us here who are what I call helper souls. We are incarnated literally to help everybody else. We've probably been around for quite a lot of lifetimes. We've kind of been there, done that. We remember a lot of this stuff. A lot of us take on the more difficult karma, which means we have absolutely crappy lifetimes, but we are here to help, and we kind of know that. A lot of us will be waking up, so if you didn't know that you were a helper soul, you might be getting a strong message that that is the case for you, or if you weren't sure, you thought maybe you were an indigo or something, indigo soul, you weren't sure. We don't only have indigos, there are also rainbows, there are crystal souls, or different kinds of souls that have been coming through. I'm actually a rainbow, for the record. I was a very early one, but there we go. And we all have very specific jobs to work on while we are actually here helping to facilitate the Great Awakening. And there's a real desire on Sunday to bring balance and harmony into life, but also to bring a balance between the mundane and the arcane. So to bring balance back with the spiritual aspect and the physical aspect of life. It's almost like they need to be two sides of the same coin. They need to be 50-50 now. We can no longer be 99% physical world and 1% spirituality when we've got time, if we remember. It has to be a lot more equal than that moving forwards. And there may be a real sense of needing to bring the spiritual back into your life, really needing it and remembering how much you need it. And it makes me sad because a lot of people are very disconnected from their spirituality. Chances are, if you're watching this, you're not disconnected from your spirituality, or you wouldn't even want to watch this. It wouldn't even occur to you to watch. But a lot of people are, and that makes me very sad. A lot of people deny that anything even exists, that we even have a soul, let alone that we're this grand being that's part of the divine, a child of God, a beloved child of heaven. Makes me very sad. And I do understand it. I really do. I understand why a lot of people were put off by mainstream religions, just didn't work for them, and they didn't really find anything else that seemed to fit. And then at school we're told that, well, none of it exists anyway, so it doesn't matter. Which is incredibly short-sighted. Schools, pull your socks up, do better. But we are these huge expanded beings, and people are starting to remember it now. And I think you'll find it like your atheist friends. Some of them might actually contact you if you're very spiritual today and say, "What's that thing that you do again? Can I try that?" So that's going to be interesting. Some people may be drawn to mainstream religions, to the kind of the big ones. There is still that, because some people on their spiritual journey, they're at a point where they're atheism, and they're not even ready to go into mainstream religion yet, which is kind of like baby steps. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way, but it's a very structured form of spirituality that's very, very much guided, whereas the kind of spirituality that I prefer is where I don't want to say advanced, because that's not the right word. It's more independent. You have more free reign to explore and discover yourself. It's different. Horses for courses, after all. But some of your atheist friends may literally be randomly going to church on Sunday, and you might have the shock of your life, like, what are you doing here? You look around and in the pew there's the person who said they didn't believe in anything. It's like, whoa, what are you doing here? So don't be surprised if that happens. It's going to be very, very interesting. I think as well there'll be messages coming through from higher self, from spirit, from soul, from God, and perhaps some interesting coincidences which will just make people realize that they can't deny it anymore. So it's a very interesting day. It'll be fascinating to see what happens. There is also the energy of recreating the temple. So you may actually be inspired to create like a little temple or spiritual place in your home, to have like a little place of worship, a little place of spirituality, whether it's around the hearth, whether it's a table or a whole room. If you've got space for that, wonderful, go for it. But see what inspires you on Sunday. Enjoy that wonderful spiritual energy, because it is a very beautiful day, and that energy is very much there for us to capitalize on. So, last of all, we have our motivational card from the Fairy Oracle this week, and it is Fairy Spotting. We have had this card before, I remember. I love this card, it's adorable. Okay, now before you poo-poo it and say, what on earth are you talking about, Helen? I'm not going down the end of the garden to look for fairies, because I know I won't be able to see them. Okay, fair enough, you got me. But the fairy realms very much want to be much more involved in our lives. Their realm and ours will start to merge more as time goes on, as we move into the more enlightened energy of the age of Aquarius. Our worlds are going to be merging. They're coming back together again. We were very, very far apart for a long time. Some of us could still sense the fairy realms. You know, we were aware that they were there. They continued to exist in our consciousness in the form of children's stories. So on some level, we'd kind of heard of them. Whether we really believed in them is another matter. But they do exist. I've encountered them many times. They are very interesting people. Very interesting energies, interesting beings. But there is a reminder that they are there and they do want to interact with us. So if you would like to, when you go into nature, if you go for a lovely walk this week, see if you can tune into them. Ask them to show themselves, ask them to communicate with you and see what happens, and see if they're able to step forward if they want to do that. Because they are very wise beings. These are very wise kind of nature spirits. They will guide us, they will help us, they will teach us about living in harmony with the land, they will teach us about herbalism and plants, they'll teach us about animals, how to take care of the planet as well, which is very important right now because we're very out of sync when it comes to that. Most people don't even know how to grow vegetables, which is like the most basic thing in the world. You know, it's very easy depending on the vegetable. We are so disconnected. Most people don't even know where their food comes from, you know. So I think it's very important that we reconnect with that natural element, with that natural aspect. And the fairies are stepping in because they would like to guide us, they would like to work with us. So if you're open to that, they are there and they would like to help. Of course, if that's not your cup of tea, that's okay, they won't be offended. They're really quite straightforward. Quite straightforward beings. If you don't want to work with them, that's fine, they'll leave you alone. But do pay attention because you may get a little sign that they are around this week. So that is the end of our weekly forecast. Thank you so much for watching. Please do remember to leave me a like, subscribe to the channel because that really, really helps. Share this video with a friend. Leave me one of your lovely comments if there's something that you would like to share, and I will see you all again soon.